Are you Rodney Dixon? I'm your Tulsa Oklahoma real estate agent. Been doing this 26 years, helping people like you move to Tulsa, Oklahoma. But there's things that you need to know, and I would rather you know it in advance. Maybe some of these things we can talk about, depending on the importance it is to you, to either make you feel better about moving to Tulsa, Oklahoma, or maybe reconsidering. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read 10 things that the majority of people say they love about Tulsa, Oklahoma, and then I will give you my personal input on the pros. And then after we do that, we're going to get into the cons. There's 10 cons that you need to know about why maybe, if you can't handle these things, why maybe you shouldn't consider moving to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Or at least if it's a non-negotiable, you need to know that with these cons, and that way you can weigh them out. And is it really as important as maybe you thought it was? So that is something for you to decide. I can't decide that for you. But what I can do is, if you decide Tulsa, Oklahoma is the area for you to consider and you want to come out here and check it out, reach out to me. Again, I'm Rodney Dixon. I'm your Tulsa, Oklahoma real estate agent. Happy to help you. I've got feet on the ground. I can get wherever I need to be to help get the answers you need to those important questions, to help you decide whether or not moving to Tulsa, Oklahoma is important for you, or if it's something that maybe you should consider avoiding. Now, if you are planning on moving to Tulsa, Oklahoma, even if you're 3 months, 6 months, 9 months out, I don't care. Reach out. I absolutely love helping people with real estate. Again, 26 years making real estate as smooth as possible. I have to have some sort of love there, right? So let's get into this. All right, so I'm going to read the top 10 pros. Number 1, affordability, cost of living. Tulsa offers one of the lowest cost of living among major U.S. cities. Now, that's true. Housing is particularly affordable, with a median home price well below the national average. This allows residents to invest in larger homes or save for other financial goals. So to give you an idea, I've done many comparisons. So like, let's just mention California. So I've done comparisons, cost of living of California, like let's say Orange County and Tulsa, Oklahoma. Matter of fact, I've got some videos here. You ought to check out some of those, like Denver and Dallas and Houston. How does all that compare to Tulsa, Oklahoma? What's interesting though is some of the houses that you would pay 1.5 million or 1.2 million in California, well, you could buy here for around $360,000. An entry-level new construction home, now I'm talking entry-level, you're looking right at about between $230,000 up to about $270,000. That would be an entry-level new construction starter type home. Just again, figure that would be a 3-bed, 2-bath, maybe a 4-bedroom within that price point right there. Now, if you wanted to consider older homes, existing properties, well, then you could get larger homes for that same amount of money, or perhaps dip into the upper 180, 185, 195, just depending on what you want to fix up, or maybe some of these older homes may be fixed up to a certain point. Location makes a big difference as well. That only makes sense depending on where it's at. If it's more the popular areas, you're going to pay more. If it's not as popular of areas, then you're going to pay less. Now, I always tell everyone, do your research when you're considering Tulsa, Oklahoma. Check out the areas and just make sure you're happy with those areas. And of course, contact Rodney.com. Fill out the form there, book a Zoom call with me if you'd like, and that might be one of the best ways before you're here, just to kind of ask the questions that are really important to you and just get a native Tulsan who's been a real estate agent for the past 26 years, just to get my take on that. That would probably be really good. I would probably go ahead and do that just whenever you want to. It's right up there. Okay, next, vibrant arts culture. I do like this part about Tulsa as well. So Tulsa is home to a rich array of cultural institutions, including the Philbrook Museum of Art, which is absolutely beautiful. At one time, this was a person's home. This is where a lot of the oil money that built Tulsa, right? These are some of the people that built beautiful houses out here. So this is, let me get back to it, including the Philbrook Museum of Art, which features a stunning collection of art and beautifully landscaped gardens. You can go and take tours of this place. It is absolutely breathtaking. You can walk the grounds. They've got all kinds of plants. They've got waterfalls there. Just really beautiful. I would like. So just something to consider. But Tulsa is really pretty like that. The Tulsa Performing Arts Center hosts Broadway shows. They also host concerts and ballet performances. So if you like that kind of stuff, you need to check that out. That is really nice. And again, that's called the Tulsa Performing Arts Center. Also, while the city's thriving arts district is dotted with galleries and creative spaces, annual events such as the Tulsa International Mayfest celebrate local artists and foster a sense of community. There's also Oktoberfest. We have tons of festivals around and throughout Tulsa, Oklahoma. So you just need to know that. Find what is important to you. We have lots of venues here. I'm talking as a guy that's lived here my entire life. So you may be thinking, oh, I've been to Tulsa and it doesn't have nearly what my city offers. And I get it, because these larger cities, obviously you're going to have more options. But considering Tulsa is the second largest city in Oklahoma, it's actually really nice. And the layout of Tulsa is incredible. You can get around Tulsa fast. I mean, you can get from one side of Tulsa to the next on average in about 20 minutes. The infrastructure with how the roads are laid out, the highways, it just makes it so much easier to get around Tulsa. So it's more enjoyable if you do want to get out. You're not spending an hour just to make it 6 miles down the road. So just good to know. Outdoor recreation, parks and trails. Tulsa boasts an abundance of outdoor spaces, such as an award-winning gathering place. Matter of fact, I've got another video you've got to check out as the top 15 things to do when you're visiting Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I talk pretty extensively about the gathering place, but I'll just give you my 2 cents here. And that is, I've been to the gathering place multiple times. They have like massive playground equipment that's like 3 stories high, like storks, like birds that are 3 stories high. I mean, they've got suspension bridges that the kids can walk and play on safely. They have man-made water areas all throughout there, adorned with all these different kind of plants to keep the park as eco-friendly as possible. That also invites all this nature and birds and butterflies and everything like that. So you're going to love the gathering place. And you know what's even really attractive about the gathering place? It's absolutely free. You're going to love it. I can't wait for you to experience that. It talks about trails and stuff. You've also got Riverside Drive. So the gathering place is down at around 31st Riverside area, kind of right around that area. There is also places like trails that run along Riverside that go miles. They go for miles. Matter of fact, they cut all the way over to Sand Springs, then come up through Tulsa downtown, and you head south, where you're on trails. So if you want to run 25 miles, you can do it. If you want to bike or ride or jump on scooters, you can do that as well. And it follows along the Arkansas River right there. So you're going to get a lot of enjoyment out of that too, especially if you like to get outside and you like to exercise. It's really beautiful. You'll enjoy it. There's also what's called Turkey Mountain, and Turkey Mountain is beautiful. I mean, it's got one of the highest points in Tulsa. This is for hikers. This is for people that want to get up there and they want to hike, whether or not you want an intense trail. They have these signs throughout Turkey Mountain, so you know what trail you're on, if it's an easy trail or if it's a hard trail. But there's actually boulders and rocks and massive trail system throughout all of that area. Acres and acres and acres of that. There's also people that love to mountain bike, and they will go there and they will mountain bike, and there's trails specifically for the mountain bikers. So you need to know that too. So if you like to bike and you want to do some mountain biking, make sure you're on the correct trail when you're out there. Also, it's dog friendly, so you can bring your pets out there as well. Beautiful park and beautiful trail system. All right, next. Strong sense of community. Tulsa is often described as a very friendly and welcoming city. Community events, the farmers markets, neighborhood gatherings foster connections among residents. So if you want to get to know people quickly, well, join some of these volunteer groups. That's one of the fastest ways to get to know people. Otherwise, there's all kinds of community events and festivals that are hosted throughout the years, whether you go down Cherry Street or whether you go to Jinx Riverwalk or the Gathering Place. You have ample opportunity to meet new people when you get down there. All right, number 5, and that is the growing job market. Economic opportunities in Tulsa is diverse with key industries including energy, healthcare, aerospace, technology, and manufacturing. The city is actively working to attract new businesses and startups, creating job opportunities across various sectors. So that's something to consider. Again, I've always lived in Tulsa and I've never known Tulsa to be like, oh my gosh, there's just absolutely no jobs out there. Okay, quality education. There are educational institutions. Tulsa offers access to quality public and private schools. There are some award-winning schools, public schools. There are also some suburbs that have award-winning schools. So you definitely want to check those out. And there's lots of private schools too. So depending on where you think you might want to live in Tulsa, Oklahoma, well, if you want to keep your kids in private schools, then check that out. If you want to drop me a line, give me a call, reach out by email, however you want to do it, that's fine with me. Again, you can just click in your browser, contactrodney.com. Okay, next, thriving music scene. Tulsa's musical legacy. Known for its contributions to jazz, blues, and rock music, Tulsa has a vibrant live music scene that draws both local and national talent. Iconic venues like Kane's Ballroom and the Brady Theater host concerts, while smaller venues provide platforms for emerging artists. That's one thing that I love about Tulsa. We do have all these different venues that provide these platforms for these emerging artists. The city's rich musical heritage is celebrated through various festivals and events, making it a hub for music lovers. So there are places all around Tulsa, or if you want to go more downtown to find more of these live music areas. Now that we have live music throughout Tulsa in various pubs, or depending on what festival's going on, we'll have live music out there as well. Okay, mild climate. Mild climate. All right, so I would agree for a lot of what they're saying here with the mild climate. And let me read it first and then I'll just kind of add. Mild climate, seasonal variety. Now that is true. Tulsa truly does have 4 seasons. One beautiful thing about Tulsa, we do see the leaves turn colors. It's really beautiful. Springtime, we see everything bursting back to life with all new plants and growth. In wintertime, we do have true winter where we may see some snow. And then summertime, well, you're probably out at the lake or you're trying to find a swimming pool somewhere, but we do absolutely have 4 seasons. And I go more into that in the cons, but it's not necessarily a con, it's just things that you need to be aware of. I deep dive a little bit more into that, and that's towards the end of this video. Okay, number 10, diverse culinary scene. Tulsa's food scene is diverse and vibrant. It offers a wide range of dining options from traditional Southern cuisine to international fare. The city is known for its barbecue, unique food trucks, and farm-to-table restaurants that showcase local ingredients. Events like the Tulsa Food Truck Festival and various farmers markets celebrate local flavors and foster a strong sense of community around food. They'll do food trucks certain days during the week downtown Tulsa area, but you'll find food trucks just driving around the town of Tulsa, corners here and there. Same thing with the surrounding suburbs like Broken Arrow, Bixby, Wasso, Jinx. You'll find some of these food trucks and they're delicious. So I definitely recommend, if you're in town, check out some of the more popular ones. Google that and find out what those more popular ones are and taste those. They're absolutely incredible. Here are the cons. Don't move to Tulsa, Oklahoma if you're not okay with these top 10 things I'm going to discuss in this video. If you have some non-negotiables that you are absolutely not interested in, well, you need to know about these 10 things for the Tulsa, Oklahoma area. Make sure you're okay with them before you move to Tulsa, Oklahoma. All right, are you ready? We're going to start with number 10, pollen. Do extra research before you move to Tulsa, Oklahoma. If this is a non-negotiable for you, well, then you may want to consider other areas. Tulsa is ranked pretty high as far as our pollen goes. Matter of fact, we just have high pollen, high allergy related things in our air here. Just need to be aware of that before you move to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Have a game plan on things that will help you deal with those allergies and maybe knock out the symptoms. Do your research and make sure if Tulsa, Oklahoma is still the place you want to be, if that is a non-negotiable for you. Number 9, toll roads. If toll roads, you absolutely hate them, well, we have them in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And what you need to know and just be aware of is with the toll roads in Tulsa, if you put in your map, hey, I want to get from point A to point B, it may include some toll roads. So you just need to know that. Now, the toll roads here aren't super expensive as some areas I've been to, but they're still there. So I do have a toll pass. I have to say though, toll roads will get you there faster, which is why a lot of those are included in your map. So if you use Apple Maps or if you use Google Maps, you can toggle that off. You can turn it off where you do not use toll roads. Tell me what you think. Mention it in the comments below. If you're familiar with Tulsa, Oklahoma, you live in this area, I'd love to hear your take on it. You can avoid majority of all these toll roads by taking other roads. If you want to get there faster, it may be worth the 50 cents or 75 cents or $1 that some of these toll roads may charge. And like I said, it has less traffic usually on these toll roads. That's something to highly consider. It can help keep you a little bit safer, especially during rush hour traffic. So just keep that in mind. Okay, number 8. Construction zones. If you hate construction zones, well, we have our fair share here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tulsa is a growing city. So because Tulsa is a growing city, we are expanding, which means our infrastructure is expanding. So you're going to see those construction areas as you drive around town. It is what it is. I don't know what to say to you and be seen as a positive thing. Of course, when you're on the road and you're trying to get somewhere quickly, that could potentially delay you quite a bit. But for the most part, what I love about Tulsa, and it's worth mentioning, you can get anywhere around Tulsa, Oklahoma, usually within about 15 to 20 minutes. So a lot of times you can get across town in 15 to 20 minutes. Now, if there's some road construction going on, depending on that road construction, it could add an extra 10, 15 minutes to your commute. So you just need to be aware of that. So if that's a non-negotiable, there are some other surrounding suburbs that may not be expanding as quickly that you may be interested in. Maybe you like living out in the country and that to you is more important. And if that's the case, reach out, we'll connect, and we'll talk about these different areas, niche areas that may be better suited for you. And number 7 is public transportation. So Tulsa is not a strong public transportation city. So Tulsa, Oklahoma, we do have public transportation. We've got the buses, there's bus stops all around town, but it's not a strong public transportation like what you're going to find in some of these big cities. So even though Tulsa is the second largest city in Oklahoma, you just need to be aware of that. So if that is a non-negotiable for you and you don't have a vehicle, I would recommend you to get a vehicle. That's going to be the best way to get anywhere you need to get around town. Now, if you're downtown Tulsa, you could probably get away with some of that. But again, we just don't have these little trolley cars that you hop on and hop off. We don't have that stuff going on in the Tulsa, Oklahoma, even in that Tulsa, Oklahoma downtown area. So you just need to be aware of that. So if that is a major non-negotiable for you, well, you need to consider that. I might be able to answer a lot of these questions. As a real estate agent for Tulsa, Oklahoma, I've done this 26 years. I'd love to have a chat with you. Maybe we can resolve some of your biggest concerns and find ways around certain things, because I can connect you with links that you can review online where you can say, okay, well, actually, if I lived here, maybe this could work because of this or that. That might be a viable option to kind of resolve some of these frustrations that maybe you have moving from a large city where you might be to a little bit of a smaller city, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Okay, guys, and number 6, earthquakes. I know, right? Is that not crazy? Tulsa, Oklahoma, we have our fair share of earthquakes, and you can blame it on this or blame it on that. It doesn't matter. What it is we do have earthquakes. Now, here's the honest truth. You're not really going to feel them much at all. Usually it's coming from miles away from Tulsa, Oklahoma, but we're still picking up like these type of magnitudes. So again, unless it's a 3.8 or greater, or you're just really sensitive to any tiny vibration at all, most of the time you're not going to know that you just went through an earthquake. So you just need to be aware of that. But again, it can be kind of an eye-opener if you weren't expecting that, you had no clue, and you're here and we have a 5.0. So just to give you an example, past earthquakes in 2024, now this is in Oklahoma. In 2024, Oklahoma has had 1,583 quakes of magnitudes up to 5.1. So generally we don't really start to feel it unless we're just there really calm. We might feel something at around that 3 something mark. But once it gets over that 4 and gets into that 5, well, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel a little bit of a rumble. You're going to see your water in your glass kind of shaking just a little bit. So you just need to be aware of that. But isn't that crazy? Now, I can honestly tell you, I've not felt 1,583 earthquakes in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Just haven't. So just be aware, but we have, it says here in Oklahoma, we've had one that was a magnitude 5, we've had 2 that was a magnitude between 4 and 5, and then the others smaller than that right there. But I just want you to aware, yes, Oklahoma, we also have earthquakes here. They're just generally not the big earthquakes that cause you running outside of your house. Number 5, nightlife. Activities. So if you like to get out and you just enjoy hitting the club scene, and you come from a really big city where they have nightlife 24/7 every single day, well, Tulsa, you're not going to find that so much. Now there's some pretty good nightlife downtown Tulsa area, but that's usually on weekends, and you might find that Friday, Saturday, maybe Thursday. You've got some pocket areas around town. But if you're coming from a large city, much larger than Tulsa, Oklahoma, and you want to know what the nightlife in Tulsa, Oklahoma is, well, do your research before you get here. But we do have nightlife where they're open until 2 a.m. There's some clubs that are open past 2, but 2 a.m. is basically what you're going to get with some of these clubs and places like that on Fridays and Saturdays. Now, during the week, it's going to be harder to find that. Again, I've done this for 26 years. I've been a real estate agent. Part of that is answering questions for buyers that are coming in from out of town because they're acclimated to what they've lived around. So if nightlife is really important to you, do your research and feel free to drop a line. Reach out, call me, and we could even do a Zoom call if you'd like. Just go to contactrodney.com and request a Zoom call, and then we can chat what's important to you. A lot of this we might be able to kind of work through and find those areas that you would favor more when moving to Tulsa, Oklahoma. If your non-negotiable is still a little negotiable with the nightlife, I think we can make it work in Tulsa, Oklahoma. But you just need to be aware of that. All right, number 4. Okay, so if you guys are enjoying an area where there is no state income tax, well, Tulsa, Oklahoma has a state income tax. Now, it varies between 0.25% to 4.75%. So if that's a non-negotiable for you, well, that's something for you to do more research and make sure that that is something that you're definitely not interested in. The reason I say that is, keep in mind the cost of living in Tulsa, Oklahoma is low. You can buy a house in Tulsa, Oklahoma. The average house price in Tulsa, Oklahoma, this is summer of 2024, is $270,000. It's all relative. You just have to kind of balance it out, find out what's most important to you. Number 3, that is school districts. All right, Tulsa school districts tend to rank lower based on similar size cities. So before you move here to Tulsa, Oklahoma, if schools are a non-negotiable to you and you want your kids in the absolute best schools, research the schools and the school districts and school areas throughout Tulsa and around Tulsa. Now, I want to read something. Tulsa encompasses 6 public elementary, middle, and high schools. 5 high schools are recognized on U.S. News and World Report's best high school rankings. So we do have some good schools here, but don't just blindly move to Tulsa, Oklahoma because a house met your price or whatnot if schools are non-negotiable for you or the most important thing to you. So just wanted to make you aware of that. Do your research. Again, book a call with me. Contact Rodney.com, do your research on the schools, find the best ones for your children before you decide what areas you'd like to move to. And some of these suburbs have great schools, like Jinx is ranked A+, they're ranked incredible. Broken Arrow is a great school district as well. Bixby is a good school district. So Owasso's got some good schools. So we've got surrounding suburbs as well. And then there's also private schools. If schools are non-negotiable to you and you want the absolute best and public isn't going to work for you, well, consider some of the private schools that we have here. And I'll do another video about private schools. I've definitely got that in the list to do. So make sure you subscribe so you're notified. Okay, number 2, crime rate. What is the crime rate in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and how does that compare to the rest of the country based on the size of Tulsa, Oklahoma? Realestate.usnews.com. And here's what it says. The metropolitan area's violent crime rate was higher than the national rate in 2022. Its rate of property crime was higher than the national rate. So Tulsa is ranking a 7.1 out of 10, has a higher crime rate than similarly sized metro areas. So you just need to be aware of that. Now, I will say, do your research. So I've lived in Tulsa my whole life. I never realized or thought Tulsa had high crime or anything like that. Again, I've been here my entire life. So it really just depends where you're at. So you can go to different areas of Tulsa, Oklahoma to find crime if you want, I'm sure, or high crime rated areas. But, you know, if you just avoid those areas, pretty much for the most part, you're going to love it here. Tulsa generally just, what I've witnessed, I just don't see a lot of crime in the Tulsa area. But I think, you know, it's kind of like anything. If you want to try and find something, well, you're going to find it, right? If you don't want to find something, well, you're going to do the research and you're going to make sure that you're in areas around Tulsa, Oklahoma, or within Tulsa, Oklahoma, that have the lower crime rate, if that's really, really, really important to you. Now, I know that's important to most people, right? If this is a non-negotiable for you, well, then you may want to consider other areas. You know, I know you guys have been waiting for me to go over number 1. Number 1 is weather. And when I say weather, we have 4 seasons here. So we really do. And that's kind of cool, right? That's kind of nice. So usually wintertime, you're going to get the cold. Usually summertime, you're going to get the heat. Fall time, you're going to see the leaves fall and stuff. And then, of course, you've got your spring. In spring, you're going to see everything just come to life, just burst into life, beautiful colors. And I even love the colors of the leaves that these big trees in springtime, they get that really light colored green. And then by the end of summer, they're that dark green. It's just beautiful. Tulsa's a pretty area, so we do experience all 4 seasons. We do have storms and we do have hail at times. And matter of fact, 2024, which is this year, just a month and a half, 2 months ago, some of the hail that fell here. Now, this isn't as common for the Tulsa, Oklahoma area, and it was more like quarter size. Now, that can do some damage on a car. So if you are thinking about buying a place, and you're going to be parking outside, you just need to know it's a roll of the dice on that. Some years we still usually see hail almost every year, but a lot of times it's dime size or smaller. That generally doesn't do any damage to vehicles so much. But once you start getting that quarter size hail, that golf ball size hail, even nickel size hail, where you can experience damage to your vehicle. So you just need to be aware of that. I always recommend get a garage. I tell you what I do, I hop in my car and I run over to a gas station that's got that little eaves, or I go into a park garage area, and we had them all over the place around Tulsa. You just need to know where those are, and which leads me to my next thing, and that is tornadoes. All right, let's just talk about that. Usually we just see those, for the most part, if we hear about those, it's around springtime, right? That's when the adjustment of the cool fronts and all this and the weather, we generally will hear about tornadoes in. I've lived here my entire life. I've never actually seen a tornado like I'm seeing a tornado. And I don't hide from that kind of stuff. I'm generally the guy going outside with a video camera trying to capture that kind of stuff because it's so rare that we see that. Now, with that being said, I mean, here it is 2024. There were some towns that were hit. For the most part, Tulsa, Oklahoma, we are not part of the tornado alley. It does tend to kind of, you'll hear notifications that, hey, there's a tornado and it's heading this way. And for whatever reason, and I've got some wood here and I'm knocking on it, for whatever reason, it tends to go around Tulsa. If we do get anything, it tends to be maybe an F1, and it's just going to break some limbs on some trees. Years back, I think a building lost a few windows, high-rise building that had an F1 or an F2, and that was actually in the Tulsa area. It just kind of skimmed. But as far as that, for the most part, you're not going to see a lot of tornadoes, touching down in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now, the Tulsa County area you might experience. If you're outside the Tulsa City area, then some of those areas do tend to experience a little bit of rotation or tornadic drop down. And so it can happen, but we, thank goodness, majority of the time, these are in unpopulated areas for the majority of the time, but it's not as common as you would think. So I know the rumor has it, oh gosh, Oklahoma's tornado alley. Tulsa, Oklahoma is really not. So just be aware of that. And I hope that gives you a little bit of peace there, especially if you're considering Tulsa, Oklahoma. But if it's a non-negotiable and you had no clue Tulsa, Oklahoma area in Oklahoma has tornadoes, because maybe where you're living, you rarely ever hear about a tornado, well, then that is definitely something to consider. Here in August, we've experienced temperatures over 100 degrees. And the problem with Oklahoma is we tend to be a little more humid than some of these areas. So that amplifies that heat. Well, guess what else that amplifies? Well, it can amplify the winter months too. So when it's 30 degrees outside or 35 degrees outside, 37 degrees outside, if you have a higher level of humidity in the air, well, it's going to affect you. It's going to make you feel it's actually colder than what it is. But we do kind of have some extreme winters at times, not every winter. Occasionally we might hit the single digits. And I'm not just talking about wind chill. I'm talking about we may hit the single digits in temperatures, and sometimes it can last a week, maybe even 2 weeks. I think we had one year that it did last almost 2 weeks. But for the most part, you could wear a shirt like what I'm wearing right here, short sleeve shirt, around Christmas time. And then other times it could be snowing outside. So I've seen it snow or start snowing in October, and usually it's not a lot, right? Just some flurries or whatnot. Sometimes you might get a couple inches in October. And then I've seen it where we've had 70-degree weather throughout October and some of November and even some of December. Like I said, you could wear a t-shirt at times, sometimes. So welcome to Oklahoma. The saying goes, just wait a couple hours and the weather could change. There's a lot of truth to that. So in Oklahoma, for the most part, it's either going to be hot during summertime. Sometimes we do experience some cooler temps than normal around summertime. Winter months, we don't usually get a lot of snow, but sometimes there may be a week or maybe 2 weeks where we do get some snow, and we may get 6 inches of snow. It just really depends. I've seen some years in Oklahoma, we just get some flurries and that's it throughout the entire winter. Summertime, for the most part though, you're going to feel the heat at least for maybe 30 days, hit and miss here and there during your summer months, like in July, mid to late July to early to mid August. That's really kind of your peak heat season right there for Tulsa, Oklahoma. So just be aware of that. So if that's a non-negotiable to you, you absolutely hate the heat or you hate dealing with cold weather, well, you might want to reconsider Tulsa, Oklahoma. Perhaps the most inviting part of Tulsa, Oklahoma is just its people that you meet. We really do have good people in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Most Tulsa Oklahomans are very down to earth and just very welcoming. So you're going to enjoy Tulsa, Oklahoma. I want to read one other thing to you. Since you are considering Tulsa, Oklahoma, I'm assuming because you're watching this, you're considering moving to Tulsa, Oklahoma, or any of the immediate surrounding suburbs. And we've got some great suburbs.
Tulsa is still incredibly affordable with a median home price of around $270,000, and we talked about that. Newcomers join a community with a thriving culture, award-winning parks. We have the Gathering Place here, one of the most amazing parks. No money was spared, I promise you. This is ranked like, I want to say top 7 in the world. If you know what it's ranked, mention it down in the comments, but I want to say it's top 7 in the world. In the country, 2024, it was ranked number 1. There are niche areas around town that you're probably going to love just based on what your wants and your needs and your likes are. So I'm happy to talk with you about that. Again, doing this 26 years, make real estate as smooth as possible. And the big part about it, especially for you that are relocating to Tulsa, Oklahoma, is knowing where everything is. I can help you with all of that. So reach out, let's chat, and we'll go from there.